Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mariah Robinson, and we're going to wake up and do some makeup Christmas edition. You could have been anywhere this morning, but you chose to hang out with me, and I greatly appreciate it. So if you want to get up and get yourself prepared, get in front of that mirror. It's 6:30. Wipe the sleep out of your eye like I had to this morning. Let's go ahead and get ourselves prepared. If you want to just hang out and watch, maybe get a piece of paper or the notes in your phone to make a list of some of the products that we use today or something that you're interested in. I hope that this morning that we learn something new or try a new technique to do something that we haven't done before. Each day is a learning process, and today, hopefully, you learned something from me. Once again, my name is Mariah Robinson, and we are going to wake up and literally wake up and do some makeup Christmas edition. Pardon me. Good morning. So the first question that I have is, what do you guys, and you can answer in the chat, what do you guys consider a Christmas look or holiday look? Mine is this is what I've done at a Christmas party. So inside the chat, tell us, what do you consider?
Mariah, you're jumping the gun. Hold on, after the song you can get in.
Oh, my bad.
Chatting and greeting now.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm Mariah.
Good morning.
So excited.
Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Once again, my name is Mariah Robinson. We're going to wake up and do some makeup Christmas edition. So if you want to grab your makeup brushes and sponges and materials, you are more than welcome to do so. Or you can grab a notepad and see if we can learn something new. Hopefully we learn something new or something that we can try that's a little different than what we've normally done. Good morning. So happy to see each and every one of you. I see some returning names and faces, which is always exciting. So we're going to do some makeup. We're going to do some glitter, a little neutral and glitter at the same time. How can you be nude and extravagant at one time? That's exactly what we're going to do this morning. And I'm so excited to be here. Once again, you could have been anywhere in the world this morning, but you chose to hang out with us. So happy to see everyone. Like I said, returning faces, new faces. Good morning, Facebook. Happy to see everyone there as well. Because coffee is important. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great Monday so far. If you're going to participate in this look with us, I know right after we finish, I'll be heading off to church. So I'll be full glam, manning the camera this morning. And so that's going to be fun. So if you're heading off to church or anywhere else, get the people prepared because they're going to see something extravagant. I'm excited for it.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Good morning, everyone. So happy to see everyone here this morning. Once again, my name is Mariah Robinson, and we are going to literally wake up and do makeup. Christmas edition or holiday edition, whichever one you choose. So my first question, I was excited this morning. So my first question that I posed to everyone was, what do you consider a holiday or a makeup look? And so while you guys are answering that in the chat, we're going to go ahead and start priming our face. So we're going to use the NYX primer, and it's in the color, I think it's just nude skin tone. And this is the primer that's going to go on our eyelid. And then I went and...
I'm sorry, Mariah, what's the question again?
What do you consider a holiday or Christmas look? Makeup wise. So we're going to use the NYX primer inside on our eyelid, and this is the color Skin Tone. And then we're going to use Professional. I got this from Ulta Beauty. This is the mini, and we're going to use this on our face. I like to prime my eyelids first, and then the rest of my face, because I want that primer on my eye to really sit and get in there. So I use a brush to put my primer on. I grabbed my mini mirror, which is not where I need it to be. So I use a brush to put my primer on. We're just going to put that all the way across our lid. Looks it's lighter than my actual skin tone, which is okay. So I brush it on and then I pack it in. Just a dot, not a lot. You're not going to put an crazy egregious amount of primer on your lid. You just want it. Primer is like glue. So if you want a piece of paper to stick to another piece of paper, primer would be the glue to make sure that they stick together. So we're going to put primer, like I said, on both lids. Doesn't have to be the neatest, because you are going to put some other things right on top of it, but you want to make sure that you give it a nice, even coat layer. And once again, we're going to make sure that we pack it in. So if you notice, I am brushing it and then I'm going on and I'm packing it, which just means that I'm pressing it down. And I did that just with a random brush. So that was the eyeshadow primer. The next thing that we're going to do is put our foundation primer on. You don't need a lot, just a little pea-sized amount, and that will take care of your entire face. I use Professional because I have larger pores, and what Professional does is it helps to make your skin, it fills in your pores without filling them in with gross stuff, for lack of better words. So you'll brush this on and put it very lightly on your face. We don't want to pull our skin too much. So your skin should not move an immense amount. My mini mirror is right behind us. Okay. So right now I have what is not foundation, but if we were building a house, what we have right now is the foundation to make sure that the house doesn't move. The next thing that we're going to do is I do my eyebrows first. Because my eyebrows for me make the entire look come together. So I want to make sure that I spend a good amount of time on the brows. Excuse me. So what we do first, and I have a mirror so I can zoom in just a little bit closer. We're going to go up, brush our brows up. And then we're going to, on the top, brush them down and over. So the first thing that we're doing is we are shaping our brow to make sure that our brow is the shape that we want to before we start to fill it in. Now I'm using the NYX, it's a really skinny crayon pencil. It's called the Micro Brow. So on one end it has the product and on the other end it has a brush. I'm using the shade Espresso. Although my hair is very dark, if you put on eyebrows that are too dark, it'll be too different across your face, unless your hair is like midnight black, like jet black, dyed it black. But even then you want to use a color that's a little lighter, because while your hair might be black, your eyebrows aren't as dark generally. So we're not coloring them in, we're filling them in, and there's a difference. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to line the under part of our eye so that we have the shape that we want our brow to be. We're going to go all the way under. After that, we're going to do small hair-like strokes going up and kind of over. So we're going to do small strokes. And once we fill this brow in, I'm going to ask Kenyofu to tell us what some of the friends in the chat said about the Christmas look, what they consider a Christmas look.
I'll tell you right now, they haven't answered that question, friends.
Okay. So we have filled in this brow. Sometimes I have a brow where it's little, one of my brows has a point. This one is pointed and this one is not. So this is one way that we can kind of fix it, is during this process. And you'll see that once I go finish this brow, I might come back to this one to make sure that they are even. I like my brows, just like my liners, my eyeliner, I like them to be sisters. If I can get them to be twins, it'd be nice. I just don't want them to be distant cousins, which I've had happen before. So once again, we're just going through small hair-like strokes to ensure that it doesn't look like I've colored my brow in, but just gave it a little extra. And so that is one brow. And today we are actually, because we're going to go a little fancier, we're going to we are going to outline our brow using concealer. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. The exact same thing, brushing up and then brushing over, brushing up and brushing over, lining the bottom of our brow. And then filling it in with small hair-like strokes, going the way that the hair is naturally kind of growing and going. And if you see some spaces in which the hair is a little sparse, you can give it a little extra attention there. But once again, we don't want it to seem as if we are coloring in our brows, more so just giving it a little extra facelift. Okay. So now that we have our brows filled in, if you look, one of my brows is a little, and I keep this out because one may be a little darker, one may be going a little further. After I step back, I can see that this one comes in just a teeny further than this one. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill this one in. Sometimes taking that step back, you can see a little bit more than what you would before. So always after zooming in real close on your brows, make sure that you go back and, make sure that you go back and look from a distance to see what the end product looks like. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to highlight our brows, or I cleaned them up with a concealer. So I'm going to be using the Juvia's Place concealer, and this is in the shade 13. It is a little lighter than me. So it's lighter than me. I'm going to put it just a dot. I just moved the sponge all around underneath of on my hand. And I have this flat brush that gets in really, really close to the brow because we're going to clean it up. And this is really when, for me, I use this technique the most when I want my brows to be super sharp, or I'm in between time to get my eyebrows waxed or threaded. This helps to kind of hide or conceal some of those hairs or clean up any area that is not as neat or sharp as you would like it to be. So what I do is, this is my hand clearly. We're just going to put a little bit on the brush, not a lot. And we're going to go right in underneath. I start with the under and then the top is just excess. So we're going to go right in underneath and we're going to go right to where that line that we drew in, right that line. And we're just going to pull it down, not moving our eyelid too much. And make that distinguished straight line, crisp, to ensure that it looks like, yeah, we did just get our eyebrows done, even though, you know, we may be like a few days out from looking like Chewbacca. With concealer, you would never know.
Mariah, I missed this comment from Teresa. She says she might put bronzer and glitter on her eyes.
Ooh,
Glitter. So folks, answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Glitter is always a way to spice it up. That's what we're going to do today. So do we see how that line looks a lot clearer and sharper on this side than this one? So that's what the concealer is doing. Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to bring in so it doesn't look so stark. So we're going to really smooth out that line so it's not like a line of concealer. We're going to blend that out. And it still looks a very crisp line while still giving us a sort of natural brow look. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Dabbing it on the back of our hand, putting a little bit of product on, and lining the bottom of our brow. Once again, we have that sharp line, but can you see this is the eye that we blended out and this is the eye that we haven't. So we did pull it down, but we didn't necessarily blend it so it's not such a harsh line. So that's why you have to, after you go through and you cut your brow out or sharpen it, you want to go through and make sure that you blend that product down so it still doesn't look like, oh, she's really just put a whole bunch of concealer under her eye Instead, it looks like, oh, she really did just get her eyebrows done. So here, as I take a step back, I see that this brow is a little thicker than this one. So I can go through. It's a day-by-day process. Some days my eyebrows look great on the first attempt. Some days we wipe them off and start all over again. And that's okay, as long as we have time, of course. So I'm gonna go through and make this one a little thicker before we go in on our top. And of course, if you see something, go ahead and fix that. I also notice, now that I've looked in my big mirror, that this brow, they're coming in at different starting points. So I can fix that as well. Just like when we were younger, it's okay, you're supposed to go back and fix your mistakes. So there we have our brows. How are we feeling about brows so far? Good, bad, and different. So we're gonna take a little bit of that same concealer color, and we are, I'm sorry.
When you, hold on one second. When you asked that question, I saw Kaisha make a hand movement. I'm not sure if that was in response to you. Would you like to share, Kaisha?
Good morning, Mariah.
Good morning.
I'm always following you as we go along, so I'm practicing because I literally woke up, seen that you was on, and grabbed all my tools. So this is practice. I'm gonna wash my face after. I can't.
You're not gonna go to church right after this? Full glam.
Yeah. So, with the brows and you know, I do love this product. I do it every day. Usually just this and mascara and for work. It's my left eye. My right eye is always perfect because I'm right-handed down, you know, right hand dominant. But it's just the left eye that I just be like, whatever. Cousins, not twins.
Yeah. Not cousins. They look like sisters right now from what I'm looking at. We got sisters. We're good.
Okay. And then I have you know, a pimple, so that gets in the way, you know, on my eye. But what I wanted to say was I learned with the concealer I usually I learned on YouTube over the eye as well before you color. You know, what do you think? You know, put the concealer under the eye and over, so it's like a stencil. It's like you build from what I've seen on YouTube, and matter of fact, I went to a Christmas party yesterday and I did and I wore makeup then. So anyway, I do concealer over, and especially, and my eyebrows are sparse, so I don't get them waxed. Yeah, I don't get them waxed. So, you know, I'm just saying that.
I tried the concealer over before starting. So I might, you know, I'll try that for next time.
It's like coloring the lines. So you just put a line and then, yeah.
I can see that. So that's one way. I know that sometimes I make the way that I shoot, reason I do it after the fact is because I make mistakes. And so like, if I do it that way, sometimes, when I do this, like I'll go through and I'm like, oh, this size too high, conceal it out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
But yeah, I'll try that. I'll try that. I'm not doing makeup tomorrow because I gotta go work next Saturday. When I do my personal makeup, I will definitely try that. Thank you. That's a great idea. I'll make sure I'll message you on Instagram or Facebook and
yeah.
tell you how that works. So I saw someone in the chat asked about the eyebrow pencil. So this is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, and mine is in the shade Espresso. The NYX Micro Brow Pencil. I got mine from CVS, I believe. CVS, yeah. So now we're gonna go on top of our brow and shape it out on top as well. This one, we're not gonna use as much product because we don't need to. I like to start in the middle and go really just around. Using that same amount, we're gonna start in the middle and just go down. We're gonna get in as close as we possibly, and when we fan this out, we're gonna fan it out far. So we're going in. I'm gonna make sure that you all can see without me blocking you in the mirror. We're shaping out that brow. And we're pulling it out. And we also want to make sure that we go in and we kind of diffuse that line so it doesn't look like such a stark difference from where our hair is to the skin. So blurring that line allows us to make it look a little more natural. So bring it more inside of the line that you've made with your hair so it looks like the skin is there. You're right, Ms. Teresa, it gives it a very defined look. So now your eyebrows look very defined, starch. And go through and make sure that we do that with the other side as well. Going ahead, going in, pulling in close so you guys can see. We're pulling that product up. And we're pulling it all the way up as far as we can pull it. We're getting it as close and at the same time as far away as we can. So pulling it into the hairline. Because you see, can you see where right here you can see exactly where my skin versus the concealer is? We don't want that. So we're gonna pull that in. So we're gonna blend it really into the hairline. So we're gonna go in where we already have hair and have a little bit of product from doing our brows. And we're gonna blend that in so that there's not that really distinct line. And it'll blur some more as we do our foundation. Sorry. And there we have our brows. And as always, when you see something that's a little off, you can either fix it with the concealer or you can go right back over it with your eyebrow pencil. And so our brows are complete. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to, do our eyeshadow. Because we're gonna do something a little bit, our liner is gonna be a lot, we're gonna do a very nude shadow. But because, and I've learned this, and I generally don't like to put translucent powder on top of my lid, what I've found is that when I put a little bit of translucent powder on my lid after doing, after putting that concealer in, when I do my, cut my brow, it makes sure that my powder and everything else stays on flat. Like I have a very flat, neutral look. And so I have the Laura Mercier, I took the top off. This is the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and it's literally just the translucent one. They have different shades. So we're gonna take a little bit of that. I have just a flat brush. And once again, we're just gonna pack that in. So I'm gonna put that all over our lid and pack it in to make sure that we don't have some of this creasing that I'm seeing is already happening on my lid. Go ahead and go back with this brush that I put my primer on with. And I'm gonna move those creases so that I'm not creasing, because your eyelids are naturally oily. And so if you put anything with more oil and not as much powder, then your eyelids are gonna crease. So that's why we're gonna go ahead and put this powder right on top. We're gonna bring it all the way up to our eyebrow bone, to our eyebrow, excuse me. Making sure that we're packing it in just a dot, not a lot. Sorry, that's something I say to my first graders when we're using glue, because glue gets everywhere. And I don't like cleaning that up. So just a dot, not a lot, and that works in all aspects of my life. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I don't know why that's doing that. Let's change our angle. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Packing it in on our whole lid. So there we have that's all we've done so far. We put our primer on. After we added our primer, we put our concealer on when we did our brows, and then we just packed it in with a little bit of the Laura Mercier setting powder to make sure that nothing moved. Now I'm going into my Morphe palette. This is the Artistry palette, and it's the 35V. So these are all, for the most part, neutral earth tone, I can go back, neutral earth tone shades. So this is the Morphe palette, 35V as in Victor. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna do nude, a very regular, nothing dramatic eye. Gonna go in with that. Just sort of a flat, fluffy brush. It's flat and fluffy. Can you see that? It's not like your regular rounded brush. This one has a little bit of flatness, flat and fluffy. So we're gonna go in with that, and I'm going to choose two shades that I know when I blend them together, they're my eye color. So I'd use this one and this one. So I mix them together a little bit, and I'm gonna put that over my entire lid.
One more time, can you show those colors?
Mm-hmm. So I mix this one and this one to create a kind of neutral color for my entire lid. And just literally tap my brush in each one. We're going and putting that and buffing that in on our whole brow. Whole lid. Going all the way up. I'm doing small circles while also doing a windshield wiper motion. I'm gonna do that again on the other side. You don't want to move the skin on your eyebrow. I keep saying eyebrow. You're not trying to move the skin on your eyelid too much. So if you're moving the skin, you're pressing down too hard. So when you hold your brush, I hold it like a pencil, but I'm holding it at the end. You have way more control and less pressure. So holding it at the end versus holding it here. You should be able to like loosely hold your pencil, hold your brush, but I'm so used to holding a pencil and having to teach friends how to hold a pencil that this is just the way that I hold my brush. But I'm moving my fingers more than my whole hand or my arm. So moving your fingers gives you a lot of control to what you're trying to do. So there we have one color on our entire lid. We want to give it some depth and dimension, but not too much. So I'm going to take another brush, and this one is round, but it's still a smaller brush. And I'm going to take a darker color. Once again, I mix my colors, and we're going to put this color inside of our crease. So I'm taking this shade, which is a little too dark, and I'm mixing it with this one. And mixing those two shades gives me a little bit of the undertone that I naturally have, but also a little extra. So we're just going to dot in both of those, tap off any extra, and we're going in, always start on the outside when you're using a darker color, especially when inside your crease, because wherever you first put the brush is where it's going to be the heaviest. So we're going to start on the outside, and we're just going to small windshield wiper in right on our crease. We don't want it to be too dramatic because we're going to give a little extra on our liner. And we're buffing while also windshield wiping. Small circles starting on the outside, moving on in. And I see that that was really heavy right there. So instead, I'm just going to use it and diffuse it into my lid. Can you see the difference between the two? So it's not like a stark difference, but once we put the liner on and everything, we'll be able to see it's still a very nude eye, but it does have a little color to it. So we're going to do the same thing on our other lid, starting on the outside, small buffing it in, small buffs, holding our pencil, holding our brush at the end, buffing it out. We want to blend it so that you can't see where one color ends and the other begins. And because we had to diffuse on the other side, on one side, we have to do it on the other. And once you take that step back, you're able to see, okay, well, one side's a little heavier. What can I do? I can make, if I like it, I can make the other side that much heavier, or I can go through with the color that I put on my entire lid, and you can, you can add some of that flat color to kind of even it out. So you can, if one side is heavier, you can either make the other side just as heavy, or you can take your original whole lid color and pat that right on top to try and lighten it up a little bit. we're gonna do one more thing on our eye. So once again, just give it a little bit of dimension, but nothing too much. I'm going to take a color that is still very neutral, but lighter. So mine will be this color. So these are the two colors I used for my lid, my entire lid. These are the two colors that I used in my crease. I'm gonna take this color right here, and I'm gonna put it right smack dab in the middle of my eye. Which if you look, you can already see how it's just a little bit lighter. We're just gonna add actual color. I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna be purposeful with that and then blend it out. And doing that on both lids. And I just take the brush where the two colors meet and just wiggle it. And there are probably better ways to blend, but that's been working so far for me. I can now say in my 30 years. So we can just blend those two colors out. And there we have our lids, or just the color for our lids. So we are now moving on to lining.
Wait, do you do a brow color?
Mm-mm.
You don't do a highlighter up here?
No, only because we have it kind of naturally highlighted it. So when you see you have your shade, your crease shade, because you put that whole color on your entire lid, that part is naturally lighter. Or I mean, you can, of course you can. I'm just not, because that'll put a lot of emphasis on my brow where we just diffused all of that. And so we did the color, the crease color, which was darker. And then we just kind of diffused out that line. We diffused out that line. And so it naturally has a lighter color. So they're naturally kind of highlighted. If you want to put at the end, after you see the whole thing, a tinge of highlighter underneath of it, underneath of your brow, you are more than welcome to. And we'll see at the end, because maybe I might feel at the end. But right now, because I know that we're about to use glitter, dark line and glitter, I want to make sure that my emphasis is placed here, like excluding my brows. Like look into my eye. Like this is where we want, instead of like our whole thing, even though, you know, we're wearing masks. So I'm not going to do that right now, but we can. So the next thing that we're going to use is I talk with my hands a lot, and so I can see how that is. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use a kohl eyeliner. This is by LA Girl. I got this at CVS once again, and this is super black. Now, because we're lining our water lines, and we're going to line both of them today, because we are lining our water lines, we will make sure that it's kohl as well as waterproof. And so this is waterproof as well. So we're using a kohl liner. And we're going to pull our eyelid down just a little bit, not a lot. And we're going to line the water line of our eye. Once again, can we see a difference between the two? I'll look straight into the camera instead of looking at the screen. Can we see a difference between the two? And so this kohl liner gives a little more drama to your eye. We're going to do that on both sides. So here's a new piece we're gonna do the same thing that we did on the bottom on our top. So the same way that we pulled it down, we're gonna touch the top of our lid and we're gonna pull up and we're gonna tight line our eye. It'll feel uncomfortable the first time you do it, but I promise you'll see a difference. So we're gonna pull up and we're gonna line the water line on the top of our eye. And do you see, like at first, when I look, my eyes still water, there is a difference. So it looks complete, looks like a complete oval almond shape. Can we see that difference from where I've lined the top of my lid, the top water line versus the bottom? We're gonna do that on both sides. Because I'm not pressing hard, I don't have, well, I do now because I've touched some things, but you won't have product on your hand. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna do the same thing for the other eye. Ooh, that's always an interesting feeling. So we tight lined our eye with this is just a black kohl eyeliner. We want to make sure that it's kohl, because if it's not kohl, it can be the pencil where it's not an automatic one as well. But we want to make sure that it's kohl because liquid won't work with that. So here is the fun. We are going to use 2 different eyeliners to line our lid, line our top line, of course. This is just a regular liquid black, was this L'Oreal? Just a regular black liquid eyeliner. And then we have the Urban Decay Heavy. They have so many different colors of this, but we're gonna use this kind of green blue. I know on the camera it looks kind of greeny, but I promise it has some blue in it too. So this one is called Stage Dive. So we're gonna use this one as well. So the first thing that this is by Urban Decay Heavy Glitter, and it's called Stage Dive. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're just gonna line our lid and give ourselves a little cat eye on our top lid with the black liquid. What I like to do is from the side, I'll pull it and pull it up so I have one flat line that I can just make one line across my lid. And do we see how I went a little higher there? Because we need to give ourselves a little bit of a cat eye. So from there, I of course want to fill in all the way to the side, but we're going to take this liner and we're going to pull it out past our eye. We're going to pull this liner out past our eye. And make a small triangle and fill that triangle in. Then we're going to make sure to bring it all the way down so that we don't have just that one random dark piece. We're going to thicken the rest of our lid, our eyeliner up to kind of match that thickness so it happens gradually. And we're going to do that on both sides. Once again, My cat eyes aren't always even, and that's okay. I want them to be sisters. They can be like close cousins, but we don't want them to be distant relatives, because sometimes mine do look like close cousins. And that's okay. They're related. So we're doing that exact same thing where we are pulling our eyelid just a little bit, not a lot. And lining our eye. After we do that, we're going to make that triangle at the end so that we can give ourselves a little bit of a cat eye. And we're going to go all the way across so that it is even on both sides. Sometimes because, like Kiasha said, we are I'm right-handed. It's easier to do your right eye, and that's okay too. Thank you. So we're gonna make sure that we have a point on both sides and try to make sure that they are even. I was just closing up and I noticed that this eye on the inside is just a little bit thicker than this one. So I'm going to go through, get real close to try to ensure that I can get this to be as close as possible. And I can see exactly what I need to do. And there we have that. So we have lined both of our eyes and given ourselves a little bit of a cat eye on both sides. Now we could definitely go back and forth and back and forth. And generally I probably would. But it's okay today. Because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go right on top of it. Thank you. Right now we're gonna go right on top of it and do the glitter lid. The glitter liner, which is this one right here. I will point this out before I start this one. This one I got from Ulta. You can also get it from Sephora or online. But if you want to go and I think this was like $20. This one is from, I think I got this from Safeway. This is also a glitter liner. But it is a smaller, like it's not chunky glitter versus your Urban Decay is a little bit of, it's a chunky glitter that you'll have to go kind of back and forth on. So this is your Urban Decay clearly. And this one, you can still do this exact same look with something a little different. So once again, this one is not as dramatic, still very much seen. And this, excuse me, is the Rimmel London. Doesn't have a color. We're gonna call it Rimmel London Gold. So if you don't want to do anything like super dramatic with the chunky, but you still want to give some drama, then you can do this gold. You can do a combination of the two. It's your world, it's your face. I have done a combination of the two, but for today, we're gonna stick with the chunky glitter. So on top, right on top of where you did the line, like not above, let me fix that. Right above where you've done the line, you're gonna take this and you're not gonna drag it, you're gonna kind of pack it on. Because you wanna give as much glitter and everything as you can. So we're gonna go right above our line. And we're gonna add the glitter. You will have to go in and out of your container to make sure that you're giving as much payoff as you possibly can. So we're going right above that line and putting a thin line of glitter. And while I finish this, I am going to point out that it is 7:55. So we are so close to 8 o'clock. And so if there are any friends who need to leave for any reason, I am so glad that you got to hang out with us so far today. It has been amazing. I hope that you have learned something new. Once we finish, you can always go back and you can look at the recording. It's going to be on Facebook. But I'm glad that we got through our eyes because the foundation is generally, we can do foundation. But I'm glad that we have gotten through the eyes where you can see this is just the glitter. So it gave, this is a nude eye. I can go out with a date night, but this is like, bam, look here. Look at these eyes. This is what the glitter does. So once we finish both sides, we're just going to put some mascara on. And there we have our eyes. For anyone who has to leave because it is 8 o'clock. Once again, you can go on and review the recording. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, you could have been anywhere, but you chose to hang out with us, and we greatly appreciate it. So we're gonna do the exact same thing to the other eye. We're just gonna pack it on, pack that glitter on the other side. I'm sorry for my mirror to be in the way. Well, I'm gonna start on the outside this time. Because we want it to have the most payoff. That is why we keep going inside of the bottle, because we want it to give as much glitter as we can. Now, if you don't want it this much, you can certainly drag it across and it'll still give the glitter. It just won't be as defined. It won't be as much, as dramatic. So we're going on right on top of that black line that we created. You can also, fun fact, you can use this glitter liner as a shadow. So in the past, I have had this one in gold. I think it was called Urban Cowboy or something cowboy. So I use this with like a gold shadow, and then I put this right on top of it. And that's another way that you can use this glitter. So we're going and making sure that we have packed this in and we get as much glitter payoff as we possibly can. So there we have, after we finish our mascara, that's all we're doing to our eyes.
Excuse me, Mariah.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about eyeshadow? When I watch these like TikToks or Facebook videos, when they do the transition, when women do the transition and they come back with a full face, sometimes it looks like they have paint. They're using, is it eyeshadow paint? Like their eyeshadow color is very bright and bold, and it's like perfect. It's very defined on their lid. Can you explain, if you know, like how are they getting, what type of eyeshadow are they using?
So they do have, excuse me, it's like a liquid shadow where you can, it's in a pot. I think I follow them on Facebook. There's a Facebook, there's a few, not Facebook, there's a few Instagram pages that they sell it where it's like, instead of it being a powder, it's a liquid. And I don't like the consistency, it's not like paste, but it's a thicker consistency where they would have to, they can't use like a fluffy brush. They would have to use like a flat kind of sculpting brush to really get it on. It dries very quickly. So that is one way. You can do a cut crease. So some people, once they finish like here where they finish their crease, they'll go in with the concealer and they'll cut out and carve out where they want to place that new color so that there's no more shadow there. They'll wipe it out with like a makeup wiper, whatever they use to wipe it out. And so then that line, it gives a very, sort of like how we carved out our eyebrows, people will carve out they'll cut crease their eyelid and they'll take out anything that they don't want. So right here, they'll cut it and now it's empty on the lid and they'll use a different shadow on top. So that's one way, but there are definitely liquid shadows. Like I said, it's like a paste consistency that you can definitely find. I know, I can't even think of the name of the page, but if I find it, I'll message you with the name of it. But yeah, so there are liquids and they will come out so much darker. I mean, starker than just your powder.
Yeah, yes, okay. I just was wondering, like, because I mentioned before I watch Glow Up on Netflix, and that's their makeup artist. So they actually are literally painting on the face. But I see that like on these, like I said, these videos, and it just looks really defined. There, the woman's eyes are like amazing. It looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a different, I grow to be like that. You can also, so they have, excuse me, eyeshadow pencils like this. And these also give really good payoff where it can be very bright. So I know this one is from NYX. I have some from Sephora. This one is blue. This is one I use the most, as we can see. And so it'll still give you that very bright payoff. So you have the jumbo eyeshadow sticks, and then you also have like the pots.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is the hand that I dot my stuff on. I didn't think that through. It's okay. So now that we have finished our eyes, we're going to go through and we're going to do our foundation, which is like our actual foundation. So I'm using Dior Skin Nude in the shade 50. You can use them. I have a million foundations. This is just the one that we're going to use today. Figure out where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it on my left hand, my right hand. And we're just gonna do 2 pumps to start off with. I've already shaken it. I have a beauty blender that has already been wet it, squeeze it out, squeeze all of your excess out. And then I have a paper towel that I also squeeze the excess out. So we're just gonna dot our beauty blender and bounce it across our face, so that we have a very even layer of foundation. We don't want a lot because I still want my natural skin and beauty to shine through, but this just kind of, helps it enhance it a little bit. So we just bounce it across our face, press and roll for areas that aren't being great to me. So I do make sure that I go a little bit under my chin to make sure that we have a line. There's no line of demarcation. Have you ever done your foundation and then looked up and it's a completely different line? Well, this helps to make sure that we are blending it completely out. I could.
I'm sorry, I missed, oh, I was looking for my foundation, but did you, are you putting a foundation on your face at this moment?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I found that I didn't have enough to do my entire face. I'm gonna add a little bit. I found that when I add it initially and I add too much, then I've wasted product. So we just add a little bit as we go. And once again, we want to make sure that we kind of get underneath of our chin. Press and roll. That's where I usually press and roll right there because that's a little bit darker for me. Go underneath to make sure there are no lines of demarcation around our mouth and our nose. I always make sure, and we should, excuse me, always make sure that we are intentional with our placement because our nose, I'm not picking my nose. We always want to make sure that we get this crease right here because there's a lot of times that we've forgotten it and then we walk around and there's nothing there. I placed the primer already on my face at the very beginning before I do my liner. So I want to make sure that bad word is soak in, but I want to make sure that it sits on my skin and I get the best payoff for my primer. So my primer I put at the very beginning. I put concealer on the top of my foundation. So right after we finish this, we're going to be putting the concealer on. So we're going to go right on our forehead. We don't need as much product on our forehead because our forehead is naturally a little bit darker, but I do make sure, because that's where the sun hits first, but I do make sure that I go over where we added that concealer from where we sculpted our brow. So I want to make sure that that is blended out appropriately.
Okay, so Mariah, I feel like sometimes my forehead is dull.
Is darker?
Dull.
Dull.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if I'm looking for a shine. I just feel like it's more dull than the rest of my face once I put the foundation on my forehead. And
so when you put after you put the foundation, because once again, we don't want to put a lot because our forehead already has a lot of pigment there. After we put our foundation, when we place our concealer, which is lighter, put a few dots in the middle of your forehead to brighten it, just in that middle part. We don't want the whole forehead to be bright. So I'll do that with you today.
okay.
Cool beans. So once again, we'll make sure that our whole face is concealed. I mean, not concealed. Our whole face has the foundation on, and we have pressed that into our skin, press and roll. So the next thing that we are going to do is do the concealer. So today we are going to, once again, because we're going to go a little bit dramatic, we are going to use 2 concealers. The first concealer we're going to do is brighten. The second concealer that we're going to use is going to be our sculpting concealer. So this concealer is from NYX. It's called Can't Stop, Won't Stop, and this is the shade Golden Honey. So when we do our concealer under our eye, because we want to brighten it, we're going to do just a little bit right there and a little bit on the outside. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, a little bit on the inner crease and then a little bit on the outside. I do a line down the middle of my nose, and then Kaisha.
There you go.
Kaisha, we're gonna do these lines. I do lines, you can do dots, whichever way makes you comfortable. And kind of just do the middle of your forehead so that we get some concealer there. A little bit around my mouth, because that's where I have my dark spots. And we're gonna walk out like this. Like so, like that. No. I have a fluffy brush. This is from Urban Studio. And it's actually a concealer brush, and we're going to blend this in, not pushing down on our eye too much. And we're going to do that on both sides. Down the middle, we're just going to continue to go up and down until that line has blended out. And in that middle portion, we're going to blend that into kind of like a big, not circle, but sort of a circle. And so we have a little bit of highlight to our forehead. I think I got this from this brush from TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx is that's my place. So we want to make sure that we diffuse that line so that there are no lines, but it does give us a little bit of a highlight. Also go in on this outer corner of our mouth on both sides. So we don't want to use, so I know for the longest, and you can, because I still do it sometimes, but I know that when I'm putting a lot of product on my face, I want to make sure that I'm very, excuse me, intentional about the product, about all of the products that I am putting on. And today we're adding a little bit more because we are doing more. So I make sure that with the concealer, because I know usually we do a whole little triangle underneath, but because we're adding more on the back end, I want to make sure that we're more intentional about what we're doing on the front end. And so that's why we just put a little bit on the inside, a little bit on the outside, so that we still were brightening our eyes, because this is where it's dull. And then I want to look like I got a little bit of a facelift on the outside, which is why we put some in the outside. If you don't need a facelift, I mean, you don't have to put it on the outside, but I needed a facelift. So we're going to put that on both sides. So we've blended that out. Now we can take our darker color, and this is my NARS in the shade Cacao. And we're going to put that the top of our ear. We're not putting it at the top of our ear, but I line it up with the top of my ear, and I put it above where my natural cheekbone line is. And just a little bit on both sides. I line it up with the top of my ear, and I put it, if I go this, you can see where it is. When I put it in there, it looks too dark and unnatural. So all we're gonna do is buff that out. We're gonna buff that into the line where our cheekbone naturally is, but we're also gonna buff it around into our collarbone, not our collarbone, into the structure of our face.
Same brush.
Same brush. And we're buffing small circles. On both sides. Once again, we don't want to move the skin too much. And so if you find that your skin is moving, pull back on your brush. So it gives you a little bit of dimension to your face. What you can do also is make sure that we go all the way around the perimeter of our face. I don't know why my lighting is doing that. I apologize. And so now we have a face that looks a little more like structures. It gives us a higher cheekbone, even though some of us, our cheekbone is naturally kind of shown and cut. This just gives it a little more dimension, a little more dramatics to it. So we have finished with our concealer. What we're gonna do now is I have this flat brush. It's a Slantix buffing brush. And I take this and I use my Laura Mercier setting powder and I press it into my face so that my face is set and does not move. Does not go anywhere throughout the day. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna press it into our powder, buff off any excess, and just press it in to set our face. So what this helps to do is make sure that everything that's in there on your face stays exactly where it is. And I just take this and it's soft and I just press the powder into my face. We're not going to do any excess powder as we have done in the past because we've already made sure to brighten up our under eye by using that concealer the way that we did. And we don't want to put too much product on our face. So we're not going to dry it out. We're not going to put any excess. We're just going to push it into our skin. Every time I tap my brush in, I know you can hear the tapping. I'm tapping off all of the excess that's on there because we don't want an abundance on our face. Making sure that we get into the collars of our nose, that area right there, and our forehead. I pay extra attention to this area right here in the middle of my forehead because that is where I get the most oily. So mind you, we're pressing it in because if we rub, we don't want to rub anything off that we've already put on our face. So we would just want to do light presses and press it into our face, going a little bit into our hairline. I think I've crossed over my eyebrow a few times, but it's translucent powder, so it's okay. Just pressing that in. And we have set our face with our translucent powder. Yes, 3 more things. And those 3 things are, we're gonna bronze our face to give us a little bit of that color back. So I'm gonna take a big fluffy brush. That's our bronzer brush. We're also gonna put our blush on our face. And that's a small rounded tip brush. I'm going to use the Ulta Beauty Flushed Blush in the color Retro Rose. And this is a Sephora contour brush, but we're going to use it with blush. So just a dot, not a lot, dab it on, tap off that excess. And we're not going to go in the apples of our cheek. We're going to go right behind the apple of our cheek, right above where we put that contour.
Wait, what are we doing with bronzer? Or are you mixing it together?
Oh no, I haven't put the bronzer on yet. I just pointed that out because I had to grab it. So we're just going to put a little bit so that we look a little cheeky, but not, I say cheeky like flirty. So we're just going to put a little blush on so we look a little cheeky, but not like we just ran a marathon. So we will make sure that we don't over blush. So once again, I'm putting it right behind the apples of my cheeks, right behind there. And we're just gonna, once again, tap that in. And that's all we're doing with our blush. The bronzer that I'm using today is the Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder by Laura Mercier. And it is just kind of a brown packed in bronzer. I have my big fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna rub that all over my face, on top of where I put my contour, on top of where I put my blush. So what this does is when the natural light hits you, it'll have like a little glow to you. So it's very fine, fine, fine shimmer fragments. And so it's not glitter all over your face, but you have a little bit of a natural shimmer. The same way that, you know, when you go to the beach and the sun hits you right at the right angle and it's like, oh, this does that with, you know, light from the ceiling. So we have put that and we buffed that on our entire face. And the last thing that we are going to do today is put on our contour. So I have 3 contour brushes that highlighting brushes that I will use. So this one, it's very light. If you want just a very light contour highlight, you'll dip your brush in this and you'll just very lightly kind of rub it across in that area. This brush is packed a little tighter, and so it's going to give me a heavier highlight. So once again, tap that excess off and do the same thing. And this brush I use, it's the in-between of these two. So it is a lot fluffier, it's a lot denser than this one, which is packed a little tighter, and this one, which is packed not as much as the fan brush. So I'm going to use this one today. Today we're going to use the Juvia's Place loose highlighter palette and Nefertiti. Now with loose powder, I always tap the top because I'll take the top off and it'll look like I just squeezed the powder bottle of baby powder. So this one, can you see it's loose? And so we want to make sure that we do not like go in heavy with this brush. So I have some in my top, and you're always going to have some in your top. So I'll take this brush and I'll put a little bit on, tap off that excess, and we're going to go right above where we put our blush. And we're going to buff that into small circles, tapping off that excess. Remember that wherever you start, where you put your brush first is going to be the heaviest. Wherever you start is going to be the heaviest. And so if you put your brush here the first time, that's going to be the heaviest part. So, excuse me, I'll either start at the end or I'll start in the middle and buff it out. But I want to make sure that I never start right here because that will be the heaviest point, and I don't want to be too heavy right there. So once again, we're starting here. And we're buffing that in 2 small circles right above our blush, is really right there on our cheekbone. If we're feeling fancy, we'll go right in the middle of our nose. And this will be a time that if you wanted to highlight your brow bone, I would take a little bit of this and go right above, like just one swipe, if that's what you wanted to do. So we have finished now with our face. So we've done concealer, foundation, a little bit of everything.
That's all you contour? You don't contour the jawline and the chin and all that? Okay.
You definitely can.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I don't. If you were going to contour that, you can do that with the same concealer that we use to contour our cheekbone. You'll just make a small line and do it not on top, but do a little bit like right catty corner, like on the actual bone of your cheek versus under or above. And then you'll buff it a little above and a little below, so that we have a gradient. Because if you just do it here, if you just do it on the top, then it'll look kind of odd because there's nothing there. So we're going to do it. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right on the actual bone, and you'll buff it a little above and a little below. And the same thing for your nose. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna buff out and in, and then put that lighter concealer on. So last thing, before I did anything, before we came on camera, I put on a chapstick. It's a hydrating chapstick. This is the Fenty Beauty Lip Balm. I put that on before I started putting on my makeup. So that happened behind the scenes, like washing your face and all of that. So I put that on. So what we're gonna do today, and this is something new that I've been trying, and I find that I've been liking. We are going to use a brush to do our lips. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do a very nude lip. So it's a brown, and this is what we're gonna use to line our lip. This is the Melted Matte by Too Faced in the color Naughty by Nature. So I'm gonna use this, and I'm going to line my outer lip, align my lips. It is not a lip liner, it is a actual lipstick. Now I'm going to take, I think this is the one I'm going to use. It's called Stripped by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And we're going to take that and we're going to put that right in the middle. We're going to take a brush. It's not necessarily this is from Urban Studio once again. And we're going to take that and we are going to stipple it on our lip to give an ombre effect. And I'm just bouncing it on that line that we created to ombre our lips. Now you can also go and do that. I just found this technique and I've been using it and I actually really like it. So all I'm doing is bouncing this. I never used it, but it wasn't an eyeshadow brush. It was just a flat, fluffy eyeshadow brush. And I just took this and said, I'm going to use it for this now. There are probably definitely brushes to use for doing this, but we're going to use what you got. Once again, I never used this brush for for eyeshadow, which is why I didn't mind repurposing it. Keep bouncing. And so I find that if I bounced it too much, I might go in with that same color, that same light color, and go right in the middle. And that's when I'll just kind of work it in that way. But now we have a nude lip that has a liner. If you found that you've kind of gone above or below, you can go back with the liner. You could also use a concealer with a very tight, a small brush to fix any imperfections. So this is just this is probably actually a lipstick brush, but I find that I don't use it for that. So I'll go in with whatever I have, my concealer color. You can go in with your foundation, but remember, I put concealer around my lips. And I'll go in and fix any small imperfections where, I messed up a little bit or got a little wild at one point. Go in, give our Cupid's bow. a little definition. For any, and this is for anywhere that kind of got outside of, you know, your lip. Let's clean that up a little bit. And there we have it. It's a very nude lip. It gave us a little bit. I find that when I put the, when I tried this with actually using actual lip liner, it was hard to blend it out. So when I tried this technique with another lipstick, another liquid lip, because my liquid lips generally don't move. So when I tried it with another lip, it was easier to blend out and to kind of buff those two colors and ombre that lip together, versus when I tried this method with an actual lip liner. So there we have our very simple Christmas look. If you want, you can put lashes on. If you want, you can put lashes on, or you can just go ahead and put some mascara on. Make sure that when you use mascara, you start at the base of your lid of your eyelash, and you kind of wiggle up to ensure that the whole lash is getting mascara on it. So if you're going to use, I'm going to end up putting eyelashes on, but we will not have enough time for that. And I'm working on another method of putting them on a little bit easier. So if you are,
I'm sorry, how long would it take?
for me, it'll take a minute, because it'll take probably about 15-20 minutes, because I'm been shaky on my lashes recently and I don't want to take that time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been trying out a new brand, and it's a whole thing. But if we're going to, you can definitely put on a mascara. This is the Super Fanned Out Mascara by Smashbox. When you put your mascara on, once again, we're gonna start, I'm just gonna put it on. We're gonna start at the base of our lash, and we're gonna wiggle up to ensure that our whole lash is getting mascara. And we're gonna do the same thing on the top. Start at the base and wiggle out. And we're gonna make sure that our whole entire lash is getting we're coating the entire lash in mascara. And we're gonna do that on both sides. Start at the bottom and wiggle so that your entire lash is getting product on it.
Okay, Mariah, I have a question about before you get started. Do you, after you wash your face, do you put a moisturizer on your face?
I do. So I use the Fenty Beauty. I use her entire line. And so I'll wash my face, tone it, I'll put a serum on it, and then I moisturize it. After I moisturize it, I'll either put the Make It Matte sunscreen, or by Black Girl Sunscreen, or I'll put their regular sunscreen, which is still Black Girl Sunscreen, but it's not mattified. So
and then you put primer on top.
You put primer on top. The last thing that you do is your setting powder, setting spray.
Mm.
What are you finding with your moisturizer?
So I just started using, I think you had recommended the e.l.f. Face. Whenever I get spotlighted, Kenya, it freezes. But whenever you use I use the face primer, and I noticed with I would do moisturizer, then primer, and It's like really smooth and sleek.
Mhm.
Like it slides, right?
Oh, it's sliding off.
The makeup isn't moving, it's just the way it feels, the moisturizer and the primer. So I didn't know if you were putting the primer on a dry face. I didn't know you was putting 3 products and then the primer.
So
Okay.
I moisturize my face. After I moisturize, I do put on a sunscreen because those rays are harmful. So if you're finding that your face is like too sleek, maybe change the primer to a mattifying primer. But what the primer is doing, it'll fill in some of those. So like I said, I have pores, so it'll fill in the pores. It's supposed to make your face one kind of flat, kind of, it's going to give you that kind of, whoo, wait a minute. That's what the primer is going to help do.
Okay. Because that I think it was just the feeling, and it does lay evenly,
Yes.
with the primer. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the primer is going to do. So last thing is, of course, our setting spray. I like to spray the top, make an X on my face to ensure that my entire face is getting sprayed. I have to turn my nail because I have a nail. So we're just gonna make sure we shake it. And we're done. We have done a full makeup look. We are finished. We have our liner. And so if you're ready to go to a Christmas party, let's go. Like, where is it? I'm ready to come. Be prepared. Once again, I am so happy that you guys came. I hope that we learned something new, or if we didn't learn something new, that we might try something new for the next time that you decide to do your makeup. Every day you can try at least one thing. It's never too late to learn. My chair went down. It's never too late to learn something new. I see Miss Teresa has a question. Yes, ma'am.
What I was saying is that, like, what kind of cost would this makeup cost to get all these different pieces? What kind of prices do something, or like the total cost of maybe this stuff? Because that's my thing. Like, if you're on a budget, it's like, how do you buy all these? Like, I seen you used a lot of nice NYX. So I know those prices are those prices are good, but I know different so what you call it, Sephora, like some of those can be kind of pricey. But is there like a budget makeup company that you could use that won't cost so much money, so this way you can have that, because I really like the look. To me, I think I'm gonna need an hour to do all that makeup, but I like the way it looks. And what you did with those what do you call those things? With the bronzes and the blush and all that stuff. That I like that look. I was wondering how people got that look. Now I know how to look, but that was nice.
So something that you can definitely do, I know that NYX is a good, NYX is one product. You can go to Morphe. Morphe's also has a lot of these kind of, I don't want to say dupes, but a lot of the products as well as NYX, Morphe. Juvia's Place is pretty inexpensive as well. Kaisha suggested that maybe buying kind of one thing at a time. That's how I've kind of built this empire of makeup. So I recently just bought the glitter eyeliner. So just kind of setting your own budget. But I know that the NYX, I know you saw I have a lot of NYX. So NYX, I love NYX. That has a lot of things, and you can go online and find their stuff. Juvia's Place, like I use the L'Oreal. Some of the Sephora brand products are less expensive than like your Laura Mercier or your Dior. And so it's kind of just looking around. But if you go to Ulta, they have a whole stand of NYX, Morphe, LA Girl, a lot of the products that we use today.
Okay, now what about when you have sensitive skin? How that's my thing is that my skin is like super. I am sometimes get eczema on my face, so I just use like a few things, and I use different sponges and I change them a lot because I could break out easy from stuff. So that's what I was just saying is that I need to make up. But in my eyes, I'm really afraid to put stuff in my eyes. The way you did your eyes, I like that, but me having a problem with seeing out my eyes, sometimes I'm afraid to put stuff in. Having a problem with having one time they said they thought I had glaucoma, so I'd be afraid to put stuff in my eyes. But I like the way it looks. I like your whole makeup period.
No, thank you. And that's completely understandable. So with that, then you may have to go a little higher in budget. A lot of these products are, tested. And so I know Clinique is for sensitive skin. So try some of their products. Bare Minerals, I find, can be a little less expensive as well. So a lot of it might just be going into your local Sephora, your local Ulta especially, and talking to the representative and just asking like, hey, these are some of my concerns, but this is what I want to do. And they'll definitely be able to help you tailor your specific needs and your budget.
Thank you.
No problem. So once again, I'm so happy that you all came and hung out today. I hope that you learned something new or that you can take something away with this to try something different. Even if you already knew about it, but maybe just trying it a different way. It has been fun and I'm done. So there are two ways that you can reach me. Facebook, and it's just my name, Mariah Robinson. And another way is at forever_timeless on Instagram. For the most part, I'm generally, that's the best way to get in contact with me. And I will add you or I will respond to your messages and we can chat back and forth if you want to. So if you want to do a love offering, you can use on the screen we've shared that you can use Zelle or QuickPay, or you can use Cash App, but you have to have the code #476MR so we know what session that you are donating to. And coming up tomorrow, we have imposter syndrome revealing the real me. I'm excited about that because we've all been an imposter at one point, but what will it be like for everyone to experience Mariah? And that's it, that's all. And the next one is Shine Your Light Bright. And I wonder how I can brighten up the light that I already shine, because we already shine so bright.
Thank you. So yes, I just want to say the name so we can all hear and affirm. Monday is Tiffany Mathias, and on Tuesday is Tears of Barnes Griffith. Thank you, Mariah. So new members, I don't know if you're out there, but if you're out there, let us know. Drop it in the chat here in Zoom or in the Facebook chat and say, hey, I'm new, and we will welcome you and invite you back and back again. So we're here Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8:30 in the morning, and Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 7:30 in the morning, Zooming live as well as on Facebook. And if you want to receive messages in your text to wake you up in the morning, you can type in 74121 as a telephone number and Will Nation as a comment. Press send, and you will receive the messages automatically. We have swag, and if you don't have yours already, you can get it right now, bit.ly/Woo Swag. And if you do have one or two, you can get a third one. You can also get them for gifts. Mask, t-shirt, sweatshirt, cup, and thermos are available for you in many, many colors. And so thank you. We invite you to keep coming back And how you would do that is you would stay connected by filling out this form at bit.ly/wake up movement. It will give you access via email, and you can see who's coming up. As a week comes to an end, you receive an email. It'll also have the link to your Zoom. And you all can also join us on Facebook. We have 2 groups. One is private, one is public. And you will join. You have to ask for permission to come into bit.ly/Woo community. And you can go to bit.ly/Woo Nation and press like, and that will allow you to receive notifications when we go live in Facebook. So we're also on Instagram and YouTube. And if you really want to reach us to give us a question or whatever the case, comment, suggestion, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. And that's the slides for the day. I'm asking everyone to unmute themselves so we can give Mariah a love shower and appreciation for this presentation.
Thank you, Mariah.
Thank you. This is
Thank
great.
you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Mariah, for your makeup. tips.
Thank you, Mariah. Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you.
Beautiful.
Have a great day. Thank you.
I hope you all have a
For your
wonderful
service.
Sunday as well. Get some rest. We go back tomorrow.
Exactly. All right. Greetings.
Everyone have a great day.
Thank you, Miss Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys
Oh,
have a
yeah.
wonderful day.
You too, sweetheart.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Blessing, family. Have a great day. Love y'all.
Me too.
Love you.